Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am showing you which card I made for my 8 years anniversary with my boyfriend. So first of all I'm showing you the main products. Later on I also added some heart shaker gift tags hearts on my card and also the Scripty love, but that you will see later on. So first of all I took my Bristol paper from Strathmore Bristol Smooth and I have die cut 2 of those large rectangles from the large Slimline with sliders from Lawn Fawn. Next I took my Grassy Hillside borders and I die cut 3 of them out of one of those rectangles so that I could play around with different layers of grass. And now I am trying to figure out whether it was a good idea or not, and I was actually pretty happy with the created borders, so I only snapped off a piece of the bottom of this one and then I could continue. So for the rest of my background, I am using this puffy cloud backdrop portrait, and what I'm going to do is partially die cut the upper half of my rectangle and then I will paper piece all these clouds into each other, but this way I don't need to use a lot of cloudy borders to create my sky. So it's just a handy idea that I tried out once with one of my scallop box cards that I made, and I saw this die coming out with a release and I immediately thought of doing something like this on a Slimline card. So now that I have all my elements for my backgrounds, I can start ink blending. So for this card, and as you have seen in the beginning, I decided to go really light, really joyful. For the grass I used some Twisted Citron mainly, which is the favorite color of my boyfriend, so I couldn't choose anything else. For the blending I am using my matte from Waffle Flowers. It's really handy, it cleans off really easily, and I just really like it. So for the ink blending of my background I am using Distress inks. For the sky I am using cracked pistachio, and for the grass I am using Twisted Citron as well as cracked pistachio. And as you saw me doing with the sky as well, I am also going to splatter some distress ink on top of these panels. I am again using some of the refill ink, and I must admit it is darker than when you would smoosh down your ink pad and then add a bit of water. But I was just thinking about having something liquid already, so that's why I chose for this, and in the end it's a darker color and I really like it. So that's an advantage as well, but that's preference as well. So here I am stamping out my images from the Crazy Antics, and I'm stamping it out on Strathmore Bristol Smooth as well, using my antique linen distress ink, so that I can later on create a card with some no-line coloring using only distress inks. So now that I have stamped out everything, I can continue with the coloring part of this video, which will again take a bit longer than what I would prefer to show you, but it's just to be able to show the technique, show that it is also possible with tiny images. And yeah, I just think the coloring part is always really relaxing when I'm watching videos, so I'm hoping it's the same for you. Otherwise you can skip a whole part of this video, because this is gonna take a while. As your use of me, I am taking the ink from the distress ink that I've smooshed down on my, this time my matte from Waffle Flower, and then I take it to my paint. I lift it up with my paintbrush with almost no water on top of it. Then I go to my image and I put it down there where I want some more shadow, where I want to create some more depth. I go into my can with water. Can is not the right word, but I cannot figure it out at this moment. But just taking a bit of water, drying my paintbrush so that I have a damp paintbrush left, and then I drag that color out. And I just keep returning to that same space of the image with a huge amount of ink, and with that I mean that I barely water it down, and then I go back in with my damp paintbrush and I just drag it along. You can create more depth and more shadow this way if you keep adding layers and layers. So if you're not sure about it, just add another layer. If you like it, you can either leave it or you can add another layer. It's just really what you prefer. And that's what I do. Also, I am painting with a zero paintbrush. You can take smaller ones, you can take larger ones. It's really what you are comfortable with. In the past I was more comfortable with my 02, but now it's the 0, it varies in my case, so maybe the same for you. But that is what I am going to do. So all these images are going to be painted with distress inks using the same technique as I said before. And I think now is the right moment to put on some music. Let you enjoy watching the coloring, and I will be back after everything is colored in. you survived the coloring of all my images, so yes. And now I'm going to take the matching dies and die cut all the critters, all the little pieces, the food, all of that. I keep them together on my little plate. And now I'm going to assemble my background. So just so you know, the splatters that I made with the refills of the distress ink stayed wet longer than I am used to from just ink splattering the rest. So I suggest you just put your heat gun on top of it and then you can melt it quicker. Otherwise you can also let it air dry, but that is preference, and I don't want to wait if I'm creating a card, so that's why I just took my heat gun. Didn't film that because this video was already going to take a while. And now I am placing down my sentiment. What you see here is Happy Anniversary. You probably have seen it on Facebook by now. There was a little mistake in some of the stamp sets from Lawn Fawn, unfortunately, and the anniversary, so the anniversary, was spelled out with 2 S's. And I must admit, I speak Dutch in my normal life, if you can say it like that. So I really didn't notice, and I know how you do need to spell a word, but I'm just like, okay, it's a stamp and it will be okay, but it wasn't. And you will see here that I have stamped out the one with the 2 S's. Also, this was the first card I created as soon as I got my stamp set from the new release, so I had to wait a while to show you this video and the card because I didn't want to spoil anything for my boyfriend. But while I had prepared this card, I saw on Facebook the little mistake that happened, and I realized that one of my stamps was also with the error. So I did what I normally never do, and I took a scissor and I cut the stamp apart. You will not see this in this video because I had to do it behind the back of my boyfriend. I wasn't able to film this again, but I removed the bottom Grassy border. From my card, I took a craft knife, went underneath all the images. I wasn't going to color them again. I mean, I love doing it. It's really relaxing for me to color it in with distress inks. But as I said, it has had to be without him noticing, as well as these ends. I really hope that I will only do this once, coloring it in no line coloring, but I also truly like the result. It wasn't always easy. Definitely not coloring in those tiny ones. So I really wanted to get them off. Use my craft knife. It worked out, luckily. Otherwise I would have done everything again. Just so you know, but I wanted to avoid that. Craft knife is a saver. Also, I wrote to Lawn Fawn. Of course, people said you need to write a message. In the meantime, there are retailers, definitely European, that are also in touch with Lawn Fawn to rectify everything and to get it to its customers. So that will probably be the case if you haven't messaged them yet, if that's also an issue where you are with. But Lawn Fawn reacted almost immediately to my question. They were really friendly, and the almost same day, I think, the corrected stamp was sent to me. While I am recording this, I haven't yet received it because it's coming from America and I'm living in Belgium, so that will probably take a few weeks, but I truly appreciate that a lot. they are really nice, everyone at Lawn Fawn. And yeah, just wanted to say that once more if I haven't done that yet. But it's an amazing company, and yes, there was a little mistake, but they are not making it any trouble to rectify it, to help you. So you know, my card ended up very well, as you will see in my pictures as well. It turned out fine, no worries. So while I was explaining all this, I have heat set my sentiment using my classic gold Nuvo embossing powder. I'm also placing down my elements using some liquid glue as well as some thin foam squares from scrapbook adhesives. And I'm just going and placing everything down. I really wanted a lot of ants. It's so funny, the stamp set is so clever. So I'm hoping that my boyfriend loves it as well, but he truly loves nature, so I think I'm good with that one. So yeah, I am just placing down everything, and then as soon as everything was sort of stuck there, I was thinking about something that I could add in the sky, and then I realized I had Scripty Love from Lawn Fawn in my stash as well. And of course I had to have some hearts, so therefore I also took a peek in my stamp sets and die sets, and I found the Heart Shaker gift deck, and therefrom I have die cut the hearts that I am going to add later on. So on to adding the extras. Therefore I am using the Pixie Dust cardstock from Lawn Fawn. It's an amazing glitter cardstock. I barely use it, I have it in my stash. I truly adored it when I saw it on the internet. I bought it and then I just didn't make anything with it. I don't get it why I don't, because it's fabulous. But I did for this card as well as those hearts. They are also with the same paper so that it matches each other. And after adhering this, my card is done. So, quite long video again. I'm really sorry for that, but I hope that you realize why I do it and that you find it useful for me to keep all the coloring in. If you have any questions, you can leave them down below. If you like this card, you can always give this video a thumbs up. I would truly appreciate that. Of course, I'm also appreciative of you being here and stopping by each time. Really amazing. And I'm hoping to see you next time again. Bye!